digress. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unlearning Podcast, a show where we get real with ourselves to elevate ourselves. I'm your host, Christina, and I have asked my wonderful sister to come back on. Her name is Elizabeth, as we call AKA the household counselor. so, so what we're doing right now is we're gonna, in honor of Halloween, and we're both not celebrators of Halloween. Frankly, I don't believe in the goblins and the ghosts because I believe people are more scarier. But what we thought we would do is have the real, the raw, and uncut episode, just where you get to hear more about us and we just have a conversation for entertainment purposes, of course. And so for Halloween, we came up with three shows that we want to just, three topics to talk about. So the first topic we want to talk about today is going to be about energy vampires. And just to give you a little bit of backstory, my sister and I, as well as other people we know of, are kind of going through our healing / spiritual journey and just growing and glowing up, really, and trying to figure things out. Like, just life is just doing that for us. And so we both have had some instances recently where, we have had interactions with certain people that just don't quite feel right. I don't know how else to say it. How would you say it?
That's exactly That's exactly what I would call it. It's just what it sounds like, an energy vampire. They're taking something from you without you realizing it and making you, they're removing your joy, your happiness, your growth, your everything, and you're left standing there holding the bag like, what just happened?
Yeah, I guess for guests, it's really like, you ever have that time, okay, this person calls you and you're just like, damn, like, I don't want to talk to this person. Why are they calling me? Like, you just get this feeling that, you could be just happy, like in your natural state, your vibe, like you just living your best. And then this one person, calls you or texts you and you just
without anything specific, not to cut you out, without anything specific. They don't have to call with anything like, oh, I just had this happen or that happen, but just the spirit of that person.
It's just like their name.
Yeah.
Like your name just comes across the screen and it's like, why? Like, why today? Like, you just brought me down like 10 levels. Or if you're in the environment of a specific person and after you're done, you feel like you either need a cleansing of some sort, or you need to go take a long walk, or you feel like you're in some type of distress that you can't identify, but it just does not feel good.
And it's not all presence either, right? So if I gave you something and then they remove themselves, but you have that thing that they've transferred to you, you can still have that same feeling of being drained and just not wanting.
So it's real interesting because, like I said, we both have had situations and we want to honor, folks and their on their journey. So we're not name dropping. This is no hate. It's just a conversation in all fun, just about, where some of this comes from. And I will put the disclaimer in there, like, I'm not a counselor in the paper, persuasion. I don't have a certificate, not trained in counseling. My sister is going to school for counseling. She's doing so many things. I'm so proud of her. Like, she's working with dead people and she's also going to be a counselor. So this is pretty cool. Anyways, of the deceased. Sorry. A mortuary.
Put some respect on. Yes.
What'd you call it? Mortuary person?
Funeral director.
Oh, funeral director. There we go. Funeral director. And so this is for entertainment purposes. If you can gain something from it, do your own research, and if you feel like you need to talk to someone, please find a certified, authorized health professional. I'm not trying to get sued.
Jesus, really?
And we say real raw and uncut. This is what we're doing. So it's all love. It's all love. Just please know that. Yes, and I am really like this. So when you
Yes,
get them
yes.
first couple of podcasts, just know that I'm just trying to get comfortable, but this is take it or leave it. I know it's not for
Yeah.
everybody. Anyway, so she sent me this video about energy vampires and a couple of articles that were just like we've been going back and forth with. Oh my gosh, like
This
this is
is that
that
person
person.
I know.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm gonna let you just share what you learned, and then there's some other things that I'll bring up.
I haven't delved that much into it, but from what I have researched, just basically like we were saying, an energy vampire refers to someone who comes around and for whatever reason, it's like a transfer of energy. They take your energy and take it with them and leaving you feeling drained or down or just unhappy, just unable sometimes to even put a finger on how you feel. Um, and they can do that, through either being in your space, through talking to you, just passing you a letter, a note. It can be a neighbor that likes to send food over and feed you. It can be done in so many different forms. But if you have people around like this, you need to separate yourself from those
Mm,
people.
mm.
It's the main thing that I learned. In first, I learned recognizing what an energy vampire was because I had come in touch with what I was feeling, but
Mm.
still couldn't put a name to it. Like, what is
Like,
this? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling drained? Like, literally would have just enough energy to make it home and nothing else. I was
why
like, what
would
is
you
going on?
like what experience? Like, don't we not name dropping again? No, no blame or shame, just growth. So,
Well,
what's
in
the
in
scenario?
in gosh, I've had many, but I didn't know at the time that that's what that was going on. Recently, it was a situation in the workplace with
Mm.
two individuals, and that's the feeling that I felt for over a period of weeks, and couldn't quite put my finger on what it was, but I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel like my normal self. Um, just I want to say lifeless, but that may not be the right term to use. I just
I
felt
mean,
just drained, just like I don't have anything to
I could
give. I
say
don't feel
I could
excited
say
about
that.
anything.
I, c-
Lifeless.
no, I could agree with that because it does feel
Yeah,
like you being
you've hit a
sucked
wall.
out of. And
Yeah,
so when I did some research um on the internets, it was basically saying that these people, it was saying a couple of things. And of course, like I said before, like we're not medical professionals, so we don't have the technical terms, but basically the way I understood it, either people know that they do this or they don't know that they're doing this. But it's
true.
really that their energy and their emotional ability to be able to regulate, like the emotional maturity for them is so high that they seek out people to dump their responsibilities and accountability on. And so there's
Almost
different
like a
types.
transfer.
It's always, energy is always transferred, but it's
Right.
just because they're not, like one article I read talked about how it is some narcissistic, or there are some narcissistic tendencies there.
True.
Because there's a lack of empathy with those people as well, because they throw the things on you without taking ownership or responsibility,
For
and expect
themselves.
you to do whatever with those emotions or fix it for me.
Right.
And then when you're drained and you're tapped out and you're exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, because you go into some type of distress,
Mhm.
they're kind of like can't compute because life's going well for me.
Right.
Because I never dealt with the problem. I just threw it on to someone else. And
Mhm.
I've heard it in other ways say that these people operate. And let me say this. I don't want anybody to go out and self-diagnose and say, "Oh, you're an energy vampire." But I do believe that some in some ways, like, you do know the feeling that you get from hanging with certain people. Like, the vibe's just not right.
Yeah.
And so it's just to make you more aware of, not to name somebody an energy vampire, but to say, like, oh, this is why it might feel this way.
If there is a something going on. Yeah.
Right. But
I'm
there
with
is a
you.
something that, and listening to your intuition, because I think you and I both, in our situations, some of them have been business relationships where the person was sucking me dry and was not giving anything. And I'm
Mhm.
taking my head and saying, oh, but this, but that. And then, as
Justifying the
to
behavior.
justify the behavior, or to dismiss the way that I felt. And then when I'm reading these articles, I'm like,
You weren't wrong at all.
damn, I
You
wasn't
were
wrong at
you
all.
checked
Like,
out everything that was on that list. You were able to
yes,
check off all
the
um
boxes.
yeah, of the boxes. And so
Um,
I agree with that too, very much. Trusting yourself and how you feel. And at the end of the day, how you feel is never wrong, because it's
right.
how you feel. So take a step back, and assess that, like you said, do some research and look into it. But no, it's not to go down the street and point out this one and that one, but just
Yeah.
being aware of who you allow in your space and around
Mm.
you is very important.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into, and the articles will be in the description box. Like, again, this is entertainment purposes, so don't expect peer reviewed. Just, this is, it's just, it's fun. It's all in jest right now. So this article, from Mind Body Green, lists 6 types, but there are many more. When I've gone to other articles that, they just name them different things. But so just listen to the essence, is what I'm saying. Okay, there's a blamer who lays blame on everyone else without ever taking any responsibility. Then
Okay.
you have the guilt tripper who uses shame to get what they want. A jealous bee, bees like buzz, can never genuinely feel happiness for anyone else. There are insecure people who put others down to their level of low self-esteem. The fun haters who seem unable to embrace joy. Bullies who stomp on little guys to elevate their egos. And then they mention others like the Debbie Downers, the whiners, short tempered people, the gossipers, drama queens. And basically, what it says is these people cannot sustain their own life force in any positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they latch on and feed and connect on others who can be in that positive space and have a high positive emotional capacity. And then over time, they're draining you of all of that. And something else, it was like they use multiple people. So it's not just one person at a time. It can be
And
multiples.
so in my case, there were two.
Wow.
So, and if everybody just took a moment and kind of really thought about it, because even as I was doing the research and looking it up, I still kind of didn't believe it at first. I was like, "There's no such thing as an energy vampire," but it
Mm-hmm.
really is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, everybody at some point, I believe, has come in contact with one, whether you know it or
Mm.
not. You probably have, just like you said, do the research and look at those things and compare, and I'm sure there'll be some comparison there, and you can be like, okay, yeah.
Um, and in other places, I've they're in pain. So the the hurt people kind of thing. Um, I think we need to look at that with a better lens when we say hurt people, because we say it like, hey, hurt people. Um, and not sitting with that, like, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
So how can we get you not hurt so you don't hurt somebody else? And basically some of the articles at the core were just saying, like, these are also people who are in a lot of pain emotionally. And so because they do not know how to really sit with that
Sit and deal with it.
and deal with it, then
Hmm.
it pushes them to seek out other people. And
And
so
in a twisted way, it makes them feel better
to
about their trauma.
but the
And
pain
then,
never subsides,
No.
so they keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you, the article goes on, but just to hear you, like, how did you in your situation, and there's a lot that you can't talk about because there's a lot going on right now with that situation. Like the gates of hell have been
Thank God.
wide open. So there's a lot we can't say.
I put
Um,
that cherry on to it.
you did it the
Um,
Jones way. Congratulations.
the other way too, you know.
My mama would be proud. She always say, take the high road.
I would
But we
be
all want to
proud.
leave children. And so it's a touch of that.
Um, honestly, in what I would in what I've researched and what I found was, like I said, if you realize and you're certain that that's the type of person that you have come in contact with, that the best way to deal with it is to separate
Mm,
and to cut all ties. But then it further upsets that person.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's where you talk about too the narcissistic type behavior, and it kind of infuriates them and makes them behave even more badly. And so sometimes it may not be a clean break.
Yeah.
With
It's almost like desperation, I would imagine. Like, because there's the pain that just can't, like, even, okay, like, so we got the little topic, a title of vampires, right? So vampires in essence are forever walking the earth like undead, forever walking the earth in pain or in constant thirst,
true, looking for got you.
looking for it but can never be
No,
satisfied.
right.
So it's kind of like the same thing with people who, again, would be in this way. And I think there are some people who do it more than others, but like you said, we all we all can have the potential to do it, but awareness is key, because by you
Mhm.
being aware, saying, okay, I keep going to you, maybe I'm sucking you dry, or how can I feel you, like, out in this whole healing journey that I'm going through right now. I have really taken a step back and said, I have to reevaluate all relationships. I'm putting everybody on notice right now with this little podcast. Everybody on notice. I'm reevaluating relationships. I'm thinking about me and what
You can
what
tell
I
it's
have
you.
given and what have I gotten.
It's
And I don't
you.
want that to just also be transactional, but for my own healing. Um,
Yeah, but if I've given you, 5 years of my time, and in that time I've always been there in some capacity, like you say, to give, and I can't recall one time that I could count on you, then yeah, we
I
need to
think it's
reevaluate something.
it's like, are you giving as much as you're getting? And so that's the part in this article. Like, the next part it talks about is some things to think about when you consider whether you need to make a clean break, or you need to keep this person in your life, or you need to keep them, at a distance. So there's different levels. And that's something else I want to talk about in the future, is like friendship and what that really means and how loosely we use that term.
Most
Like,
people, yeah, very few
people are
people.
in different circles within your, as you have relationships with them. So not everyone should be in the holies of holies with you. But that doesn't mean people often oh, I think you're an energy vampire, I'm gonna throw you at the curb. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you
No,
gotta you gotta do some reflection.
in my situation, I became physically ill,
Mm,
so I had to make
the
the break.
break.
It was a must. It wasn't an option. So I would
And so
be interested to know,
I I'm sorry, say that again.
like, I
Interested to
would be
know.
interested to know the other side of that. Like you said, whether to keep that person around. How do you do that?
Well, here's
Recognize.
the questions. And I'm with you on that, because right now I'm like, okay, I'm not dismissing you.
Right.
I just need to take a step back and reset. And so as I'm
Mhm.
resetting and getting back to, like, myself and releasing things, or traumas, or what, issues, as I'm releasing those, now I can see, oh, here's how this person may come in,
Right.
or thank you for the lessons that you've taught me. love and light as you move on. Because everybody's not supposed to be in your life forever.
Forever. No,
It's
no,
a
no.
reason, it's a season, right? So, and I can never remember the last one. A reason, a season, and whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So here's what the article says. It says, these are questions to ask. If your relationship with a person has changed, did it get better or worse?
Okay. It was worse in my situation.
Right. Can you wholeheartedly trust that person with your dreams, fears, secrets, or your heart?
Hell no. What?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that had me aware because it was like, I wouldn't do that with those people. And then it was like, ding, ding, ding.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to
Yeah.
look at, not to
Yeah.
say that they're vampires, but just to say, like, then are they acquaintances? Or can you really call those people friends? Like that's where it had me. Okay, question number 3. Do you feel valued, loved, balanced, and supported?
Not not in that situation. I did not.
Mm-mm.
None of the above.
But I think that's a good question to ask, because if you give those things, if you give value to your friends or people that you know, if you're showing love, if you're being balanced with them and always being there as a pillar of support, but they're nowhere to be found, you may have to sit with that and ask yourself some other questions. How would you describe the quality of the energy exchange? Is it equal or one-sided?
One-sided.
And that's where I'm at. And I hate to say it this way, like it needs to be transactional right now, but that's the only way that I could describe it. It's like I'm doing for you, or you can no longer in my life do the bare minimum. You cannot give me shit and keep telling me it's sugar. If I'm giving like this, I expect that to be the
You have to
minimum.
match that, and
You
maybe
have
not
to
in the
match it.
same form, but you have to. Yeah, you have
Match
to
it. It's
come
not
to
going, to your point, it's not going to look this, it won't look the same, but
right,
it should feel the same.
right, right.
Maybe that's the thing. It should feel like, okay, this is it's back and forth. Like I had somebody, a couple of people reach out to me and just wanted me to do for them. Like, I just need you to do this. I just need you to be this for me. And it was like, okay, well, if you need me to do the thing you're asking me for, there's a fee attached to that. Because that's my level of expertise that you want to tap into. That
And
becomes business.
it should be, yeah, and it should
And
be,
so that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah, right, right.
Um, or the people who one person got upset with me because I'm busy. Like I'm doing a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And
We all
person
should.
got upset, like I wasn't giving them time. I was like, no, no, no,
That's
no,
a
no, no,
big,
no,
yeah, that's
no, no, no.
a big red flag. And then too, in your situation, I think with the individual you were dealing with, I think they were aware of what they were doing.
I think there were multiple people like that. I'm sorry, did I just slurp on the microphone?
With that big ass of Cane's cup.
I love my Cane's cup. I had some tea.
Oh, but we're not, yeah.
I'm sorry. That
It's
just
just,
means I'm comfortable. That just means I'm comfortable.
no, we need to get an unlearned cup or something. This is not gonna work.
Oh wait, that's coming. Unlearn merch will be coming. Yes, yes,
Took a walk and wrote unlearn over
yes.
raising cane. Unlearn this. No.
Unlearn this.
Okay.
Focus.
But yeah,
Focus.
I think your situation, I think I dealt with one that was aware and one that wasn't. And I think your
Mm,
situation, you dealt with somebody who was very much, that's just how they move. They were used
wow.
to moving that way. And you got to think you weren't their first victim. You weren't that vampire's first
I
victim.
I will not call myself a victim.
Well, oh gosh. Okay.
I will say I got my tushy tapped and lesson learned. Will not say I was a victim, because, and
Okay.
that's a whole nother tangent we could go down. But yeah, I was not a victim, but I did learn a
Not
lesson.
quite in that way, but
Yeah.
you weren't the first encounter with that person in that same how they were moving. And so that's why I think that person was very much aware of
Hmm.
how they were maneuvering.
Okay, let me go on to the next questions. 3 more. Can you truly be yourself without fear of being judged, mocked, or ridiculed?
No, baby, I was bougie. I was I was all kind of like I wasn't even talking to nobody.
You was the counselor because everybody kept coming to you.
All day problems. Like you really can take all day problems. I don't care.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait till you graduate so they can. Yeah, I really was a counselor.
Oh, babe.
Anyways, okay. And then if someone drains you, explore the root cause of your attachment and ask, can the relationship dynamically shift?
What you mean?
So this really should be a self-reflective question.
Okay.
Um, well, they all are, but this one
More
basically is
so.
like if you have acknowledged that, okay, or identified that someone has drained you,
Right.
and explore the root cause, like why am I attached to this person, or why is this person attached to me? Like, I think in both of our examples, it was what these people could get from us. More of the
Definitely.
financial side, which we shall not go into, but more of the financial benefits. And so, if that's the case, you should ask yourself, can that dynamic shift? Like, and this is something I've had in the past where I've had, you know, people wanting something and it was never a friendship. It was some other type of relationship, but we're so quick to call things friendship.
Friendships.
Like
Oh my.
I'm a friend of yours now, so therefore we do business. But it's actually a business relationship.
Right.
So there needs to be some clarity and some boundaries
Boundaries.
around wherever we start, and those two relationships need to be, separate. Yes, I can do business with my friends, but I feel like once you blur those lines, then somebody's going to be taking more than
Be
they're
hurt.
giving,
Yeah.
or be hurt,
Yeah. It's gonna end up on the
or
short end.
or left not being valued or balanced, love, supported, any of those. Like, so
I agree.
and then the last question is, and then you've got a decision to make. Keep the relationship going or not.
No.
And I've always been that way of
Easy.
like, me as my personality and just me as an Aquarius, it's kind of like it's pretty easy for us to just cut it off.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
And that's not always, I'm learning. That's not how you handle relationships. I used to say like I cut you off like water. That's not the best way to do it. I'm growing, I'm learning. But what I also would do was to weigh those pros and cons. It's like,
Yeah.
how am I benefiting from this relationship? How is this person benefiting?
If it's one of value, then no,
Right.
that's not how you would react to it. But you have some people that say, well, you never cut off. No, there are situations and relationships for the sake of your peace of mind, your health,
Mhm.
whatever, that need to be cut and not
Yeah.
revisited.
That's
So,
episode 2 of
yeah,
when is it episode 2 that's coming out is when is it necessary to ghost people, because
well, it all
and that's a
ties.
whole nother, yeah,
Yeah,
like
it all ties
sometimes
together.
you have to let people go. A lot of times, I'm not going to say sometimes, a lot of times you do have to say, well, based on where I am, sometimes we go our separate ways. And if you become aware, there've been a lot of friendships over time, over the years, where I've either been at a place or they've been at a place, and you just naturally drift apart.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean you won't come back. Like, some of those have been,
And doesn't.
permanent. Some of those are now coming back, which is amazing because we've both done our growth in certain ways and now we
Hmm.
come back together.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't ever think you should be forcing things to happen in those partnerships. And when you start talking yourself and
No,
staying with somebody or staying in a
that's an
friendship that is not
automatic.
serving you,
Yeah, that's an
it's
automatic step back and look because
and look,
something
right.
isn't right. Yeah,
If your
something.
head is talking more than your heart, that's what I'm learning. If my head ever talks more than my heart about a person or a situation, then I have got it wrong pretty much the time. If I look at my track record of results, yes,
And
that's my learning.
we're big on doing it too within family, the family dynamic,
Mm,
because what is the main excuse a lot of people give? Well, that's my family, or that's my sister, or that's my brother. But they might have that energy,
yeah.
or they might not be healthy for you And, you may need to separate, loved one or not. You may have to make that separation.
Yeah. And I
So,
think it's also yes, you can distance yourself from a person, but still send them what they can't give themselves is what I always say. Like leave a person with dignity, with their dignity intact. And that's why I don't argue with people. And then always wish a person love and light.
mhm,
And if you can't wish them the big thing, or you still caught up in your feelings where you could say, I'm just happy that you still breathing, love and
mhm,
light to you. That's just still will send well wishes. I'm not saying we gonna get it right, but what I am saying is you don't have to leave it and cut it. You can just wish them love you, peace to you. I'm just going in this direction.
yeah, yeah,
So, so it gives 7 ways to cope with energy vampires. Number 1, take a deep breath and let go. There's no need to allow their words or actions to linger and take up space in your heart and your mind or in your mind. Number 2, recognize that their words or actions are unacceptable. Don't give them permission to leech onto your energy. Um, and something with that I've been starting to do, and I don't know who came up with this, but especially for empaths, um, people like you have 7, it's like the cup with 7 straws or 7 spoons or whatever.
okay,
And it's a way for you to visualize and think about how you use up all of your energy to really things that are not important, and how you it's also something I do because I have fibromyalgia, so it's something I do to help me think about like my different how am I going to use my energy throughout the day or something like that.
okay,
It's something else that's used so it's used for people with like chronic issues or chronic ailments for health wise, but also empaths. I've heard people use it. So this person you attach some straws to. So okay, for a person I know they've got 3 straws.
okay,
Every time you come to me, a straw comes out of the cup
okay,
until there are no more straws.
okay.
And then
And
we are
then,
done. So
okay.
now done for you could be done long term, it could be done short term or whatever. Or like I'm only going to talk to you about this issue that you keep bringing up this many times, and it's like you're making a mental note so that
Oh,
you are not having this person drain you
constantly, yeah, because
constantly. Or I'm only, when this person calls, I'm only going to talk to them for 2 minutes.
X amount of time.
Got to
Okay.
go by. Whatever that
Mhm.
is for you, um to figure out. And it is helpful. Um It says, keep things light and change the focus. Learn not to react on impulse. Instead, go with the flow and tactfully bring the situation back to a neutral setting.
Okay, I can see that one.
Um, Remind yourself, number 4, remind yourself of the purpose of your bond or your connection. Why is this person in your life? How are you associated with them? And know that you are allowed to walk away.
That's important. That is
So
important.
just really weighing the pros and the cons
And then
on
making,
both
like you
sides.
said, a decision. Yeah,
And if one side is more than the other, I feel like you need to address it,
it's on balance.
or yeah, figure it out. Yeah. Um, Number 5, take a step back by putting their words or actions into perspective. Their behavior is a reflection on them,
Not you.
not
Yes,
you.
yes, indeed.
I think this is also where compassion comes in. I'm going to say detached compassion. Let me say it that way. Because sometimes people can take advantage of your compassion
I
as
was gonna say
weakness
yes, very
in
much
this world that unfortunately there's more negative than there is positive. And
so.
so um
True.
I think another thing, like the article said, that most of the time energy vampires attach themselves to people who are very compassionate, who are very
Mhm,
empathic, because
mhm,
you will find energy and reserves to try to help this person. And
mhm,
so that's why I say a detached compassion of just, I have to remove myself um from you either trying to give me that pain that's not mine, it's yours to own, or like I said with the cup and the straws, it's like, okay, this is the limit, and be clear about your limit for yourself first.
I tried that, but
Well, here's also the thing, like when people like that also don't respect your boundaries.
True. And that's something that I am working on in this
Mm-hmm.
time now. Because you've told me that a many a day about me and the boundaries.
Uh-huh.
Get it now.
And
Yeah.
also, what bites you on the butt, like the tushy lesson I got, was because I did not, I should have said my boundaries. I should have said it then and there the first
Yes.
time. But
Yes. I
because
agree.
people tend to be I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna give you the
Let it
benefit of the
go. Yeah.
doubt. I'm gonna let it
Yeah.
go. And you just
They
need
come
to nip it in the bud. That's what I've learned. Like, to take your
back.
voice back and say, you know what? This is not, this is,
Not
respect
work.
this boundary. Now I've let you know.
Right.
And then you can clearly see from there if the person really values you or the relationship, and or no, they're just trying to get something out of it. And then the last one is, oh no, two more, sorry. Number 6, visualize a protective light around you, like an energy shield. This can help you remain energetically neutral without letting their words or actions cut or affect you.
I have to work on that one.
Um, well, it's kind of like, when people say stay prayed up. That's
Yeah.
what it
Well.
is to me. Like, you have something around you, a shield of protection.
Yeah, but yeah. Go ahead.
But I'm just,
Be strong.
and then number 7, affirm your self-worth. You deserve to be surrounded by positive, genuine, and caring people who aspire you to be your best.
I agree
That's what I'm learning,
with
is
that.
that you deserve to be treated. You deserve to be around positive people who are not blowing smoke up your bum. It's more of people who just, like, they celebrate you and you're celebrating them, and
You have
that,
the right to say, yeah.
and you have the
This
right to
is,
say that,
yeah.
and
I
not in
like.
a superficial way, like people, I, I'm blessed right now because I got removed from a situation that was extremely toxic.
Mm,
And now I'm in a situation where, because I'm growing, like, it seems like the right people are
are coming forward.
coming are
Right.
coming forth, and these people are genuine and they're happy about what they do and they're excited and they want to make a difference. And it's tough, but and they own where they are. Like, they name
But it
it.
was
They
hard
try.
to see with
Right.
all that was in the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, and so, what else would we like to say to people? I think we've said, like, we've been talking for an hour, but it's a good conversation, so
Oh,
I'm not mad at it.
ain't got nothing to do.
Um, yeah,
No, that everything, like you said, is about energy and you know spiritual growth and how we feel. And so just making sure that the people, like I said earlier, you allow in your space, or the people that you want in the space, that there's a mutual respect and a value for, um and that they're not, like you said, that they're to help you and uplift you, and not necessarily trying to rob you of anything,
yeah,
um for their own selfish need or gain. um I'm definitely becoming more aware of just who I let around me. And not just like around me, like you said, oh, let's be friends. Just period. Like who I'm standing next to on the elevator. I'm looking at you sideways.
ooh,
Like, don't even come,
wow,
because you might have something on you that I don't need, I don't want. So that's just
mm.
being aware of it all. Because it can all affect you, you're not even realizing.
I think if we all thought that way just a little bit, like, we think about our physical presence, like what we see, we don't think about how our energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I taught for over 20 years, and any teacher out there or anybody that's been a anybody living basically can attest to this. Somebody walks in a room, it'll be fine. I mean, it's you and a group of other people, y'all are having a great time, the vibe is right. One person walks in and changes the whole atmosphere.
How many times did we grow up with that as children in the house?
Right. One person come through and is like, "Oh man," or you
And
can't be yourself.
yeah,
And if we thought about that energy that we are putting out, not just the physical, and what you hear me say, what you're seeing me do, if we also think about what is the vibe or uh the
The most
signal that I'm
important.
putting out there, is it like uplifting people? Because you're just going to get it back when it's doing that. And is it bringing people down, or why am I down? Like you always check yourself
First. Oh yes, good.
first before, like, and and please don't take this like I just need to be happy all the time. Like life is life and you
It's up
feel
and
what you
down.
feel.
Right.
But I also don't need to make you feel what I'm feeling.
Right.
I think you have a level of control. And if I don't know about that, or there's something I'm missing, please, share your knowledge as you're listening to this, because I would like to know. But from my personal experience, the energy shifts like that, and
Mhm.
you can lose it so quickly. It's so easy for us to come
To
down to a negative space than it is to be
to
brought up
climb up. Yeah.
and to climb up. And it's
And that's
just like,
why
why?
who you but that's why who you surround yourself with is so important. So yeah, um, mhm, yeah,
And I think that as you grow and your eyes, the veil gets lifted. Because each time you grow and a veil gets lifted of some sort, you start seeing things differently. You start seeing uh, environments differently. You start seeing people differently. And it's just like, huh, I didn't see that before about you. I didn't see how, you're treating this person who you think is beneath you. And that is not the way, that you treat someone. Or I didn't see, you're always talking in like this negative realm and blah blah blah, whatever. Um, I think it's in those moments especially where you have to take a step back and say, let me look at me now and how I've grown, and let me look at what's before me as it is,
mhm,
the realistic of this is what I'm seeing. And then you have to make that decision for yourself whether or not this person is bringing that value and that balance and support and love ultimately to your being.
yeah. And it can be hard having to face it because I mean, our situation, or with some family members, and so sometimes it's hard having to face that music, but it needn't be faced. I'm trying to say that without name dropping, but yeah, like
Well, at that point, it's just I just make the decision. I can only love you from afar. I can
yeah,
only love you from afar because um
but
you are not at a place where you are in pain, but that is not my pain to carry. Number one.
no,
Number two, you are not giving me signs that you want to change right now. So that's why I mean you have to accept where that person is right now to say, you know what, you got to help yourself first. So if you are not aware or you don't receive that in order to help yourself first, there's no way I can help you.
that's
There's
no
no
true. That's
there's
true.
no way there's nothing I can ever do that's going to help you
If you,
heal that pain. And
that's
that's where compassion for me comes in, because you have to say, I recognize that pain. And for particular family members, that pain runs so deep, I can't help them. Even if I had a
exactly.
degree in counseling, I can't help you. That's a soul wound that you're going to have to,
You
you are
have to
on
do the
this
work.
life to do your
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
Ayana says it all the time. I love her. Do your work.
yeah. She has to do. Yeah,
Name it, own it. She, he, they, them, all of them. We all have to do our work.
yeah.
And so, uh, family and friends, like you see that wound and you're like, I just can't do anything. I can't do it for you. You have to
And
do it for
personal.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And that doesn't mean that person, in my opinion, I don't think a person is weak because they're not doing their work. They're just not ready. If I knew then, I always said I was going to be that person that said, I would never say, if I knew then what I know now. And I find myself now at 44 saying, if I knew then what I knew now,
Of course.
I would have made completely different changes. I always say, I'm never going to say that. I'm never going to say that. I find myself saying
You
it
don't know what you gonna say? Yeah,
because I didn't know at the time. And so if
right.
you don't know what you don't know, but when it's brought to you, and that's where unlearning comes from, when it's brought forward to you, you do have the choice to say, okay, it's scary as hell. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm gonna go anyway. That's the point. You gotta take that path that's meant for you.
Right.
And until then, the question is, what are you spreading to people? So we're gonna end it right here. Thank you all for listening. I hope you got some laughs. If not, you're just probably shaking your head like, oh my gosh. So thank you all and have a blessed evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.